Have you ever noticed someone smile at your success, but their words feel like tiny daggers? Jealousy is often hidden behind polite faces, but its effects are real. Today, let's uncover 9 subtle behaviors that reveal when someone is secretly jealous of you and how to protect your peace. Picture this: you've just shared some amazing news. You got a promotion, bought your dream home, or reached a personal milestone. Your closest friend nods with a smile and says, "Wow, that's great. I wish things were that easy for me." At first you brush it off. It seems harmless, right? But then it happens again. Another time they laugh and say, "You're so lucky, things always work out for you." Their words leave a strange sting, as if their praise is wrapped in envy. Jealousy rarely announces itself with dramatic gestures. It creeps in, masked as offhand comments, dismissive gestures, or subtle actions that make you question your worth. Now here's the truth: understanding these behaviors isn't about calling people out or creating drama. It's about protecting your peace and recognizing when someone's hidden jealousy might be affecting your life. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you liked the video, so that you can help me continue spreading Stoic philosophy. If you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you do so and activate the bell, so you don't miss any future videos on Stoicism. So let's explore the 9 subtle behaviors that might reveal someone's secret jealousy, and more importantly, how to deal with it gracefully. Number 1. Backhanded compliments, a masked expression of jealousy. Backhanded compliments are more than just awkward comments. They're a subtle form of jealousy. Imagine this scenario. You've been dedicated to improving your fitness, waking up early for workouts, and eating healthier. Finally, your hard work pays off and someone says, "You look great. I wish I had time to focus on myself like you do." At first, it feels like praise, but there's an edge to it. The implication that you've had the luxury of free time while they haven't. It's a mix of admiration and a subtle attempt to downplay your effort. The psychology behind backhanded compliments. Backhanded compliments often stem from feelings of inadequacy. When someone feels threatened by your progress or success, their jealousy might come through as subtle criticisms masked as compliments. Psychologically, this behavior is a way for them to balance their self-esteem. They diminish your achievements to feel less vulnerable about their own insecurities. For some, comparison plays a major role. Your accomplishments can make them feel as though they're falling behind, even if that isn't your intent. They might think, if they're succeeding, what does that say about me? Instead of celebrating you, they protect their ego by finding ways to downplay your success. In some cases, people who give backhanded compliments may not even realize they're doing it. The jealousy could be subconscious, slipping out in subtle remarks that seem innocent on the surface but carry an undertone of envy. How to handle backhanded compliments. When you encounter backhanded compliments, it's important to handle them with self-assurance and empathy without letting them affect your confidence. Here are some actionable strategies. Number 1. Acknowledge the compliment, not the insult. If someone says, "It must be nice to have so much free time to exercise," you could respond, "Thanks. I've worked hard to make it a priority in my schedule." This allows you to accept the positive part of their comment while ignoring the negative implication. Number 2, recognize their insecurity. Understanding that their comment stems from their own struggles can help you respond with compassion rather than frustration. A calm mindset allows you to rise above the subtle jab. Number 3, use humor to diffuse tension. A light-hearted response can shift the tone of the interaction. For example, you might say, "It's true, I've mastered the art of squeezing an extra hour out of the day." Humor keeps things friendly and prevents the conversation from becoming confrontational. Number 4, set boundaries when necessary. If the backhanded comments are consistent and start affecting your relationship, it may be time to address the issue directly. You could say, "I've noticed your compliments sometimes feel more critical than supportive. Is there something on your mind? This approach invites dialogue rather than defensiveness. Backhanded compliments might seem harmless at first, but their cumulative effect can create tension and self-doubt. Recognizing them as a reflection of someone else's jealousy, not your worth, empowers you to respond confidently and gracefully. Most importantly, don't let these subtle remarks undermine your achievements. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." By focusing on your own growth and maintaining a positive perspective, you can rise above these comments with strength and resilience. Number 2, minimizing your achievements, a subtle undercurrent of jealousy. One common sign of jealousy is when people downplay your success, making your hard work seem less significant than it truly is. For instance, imagine you've just received a promotion at work after months of late nights, extra projects, and constant effort. Instead of celebrating with you, someone remarks, "Well, it's not that hard to get promoted in your field. Isn't it more about being in the right place at the right time?" At first, you might brush it off as a casual comment, but the underlying message becomes clear. They're trying to diminish your accomplishment, suggesting that luck or circumstances, not your hard work, played the biggest role. The psychology behind minimizing behavior. Why do people minimize others' achievements? Often, it's rooted in their own feelings of inadequacy. When someone feels insecure about their own progress or capabilities, seeing others succeed can be a painful reminder of what they perceive to be their shortcomings. By downplaying your efforts, they protect their self-esteem and avoid confronting their own frustrations. This behavior is also tied to the psychological principle of comparison. When individuals measure themselves against others, they may feel threatened by someone else's success, even if it has no direct impact on them. Instead of reflecting inwardly or working to improve themselves, they project their envy outward by diminishing your accomplishments. In some cases, minimizing remarks come from a fear of change. When you succeed, it can shift dynamics in relationships, making others feel left behind or questioning their role in your life. To maintain the status quo, they might downplay your growth as a way to avoid facing their own discomfort. How to handle people who minimize your success. When faced with someone who minimizes your achievements, it's essential to respond in a way that reinforces your confidence while maintaining your composure. Here's how. Number 1, own your success with pride. Acknowledge your accomplishment without hesitation. If someone says, "It must have been easy for you," respond with confidence. "It took a lot of effort and dedication, and I'm proud of what I achieved." This reminds them, and yourself, that your success is valid and well-earned. Number 2, avoid playing defense. Resist the urge to explain or justify your success. Over-explaining can make it seem like you're seeking approval. Instead, keep your response concise and self-assured. For example, "I worked hard for this, and I'm really happy with the result," is a firm yet non-confrontational reply. Number 3, redirect the conversation. Shift the focus to a neutral topic to avoid prolonged negativity. If someone says, "I bet anyone could do that if they had your resources," you might reply, "It was a great learning experience. How's your latest project coming along?" This move subtly highlights their behavior without engaging in unnecessary conflict. Number 4, offer empathy, but set boundaries. If you sense that their minimizing stems from insecurity, try to understand their perspective, but don't allow it to undermine your confidence. You might say, "I understand how tough it can be to feel stuck. Let me know if there's any way I can help." While empathetic, this statement also establishes that their negativity won't diminish your success. Keep your perspective. It's important to remember that minimizing behavior reflects more about the other person's struggles than it does about your worth. Their inability to celebrate your achievements stems from their own unresolved feelings, not your actions. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When someone tries to minimize your success, stay grounded in the truth of your hard work and resilience. By maintaining a calm, confident demeanor, you show that no amount of minimizing can diminish your accomplishments or your sense of self-worth. Number 3, competing for attention, a hidden form of jealousy. One subtle sign of jealousy is when someone constantly competes for attention, often overshadowing your achievements or moments. Imagine you're sharing an exciting story about a recent promotion or milestone, and as soon as you finish, the person responds with, "Oh, that's cool, but I did something even better last week." At first, you might think they're just being enthusiastic or sharing their own experiences. But when it becomes a recurring pattern, it becomes clear they're not simply telling their story, they're competing for the spotlight, trying to steal your thunder and shift the focus back to themselves. The psychology behind the behavior. Why do people feel the need to compete for attention in this way? Often, it comes down to insecurity and fear of being overlooked. For some, being the center of attention gives them a sense of validation and worth. When others achieve something noteworthy or share exciting news, it can trigger feelings of jealousy, leading them to downplay your success or even overshadow it with their own. This behavior is also a form of social comparison. In a world that constantly measures success, many individuals compare their achievements with others in an attempt to validate their own worth. If they perceive someone else is getting more attention or recognition, they may feel a need to outshine that person in a subtle or not so subtle way. It's also possible that competing for attention stems from a fear of missing out, FOMO. When someone feels like they're not in the spotlight, they may go to great lengths to ensure they don't fade into the background. This kind of behavior can come from a lack of self-esteem, where they feel like their worth is dependent on being acknowledged or praised by others. How to handle someone who competes for attention. Number 1, stay confident in your moment. When someone tries to steal the spotlight, it's important to hold your ground. Instead of getting defensive or feeling discouraged, continue to speak confidently about your achievements. For instance, if they overshadow your promotion with their own story, calmly say, "That's great, but I'm really proud of what I've accomplished. It's been a long journey." This helps assert your place without dismissing theirs, reinforcing that your success is valid and deserving of recognition. Number 2. Don't engage in the competition. It's easy to get drawn into a back and forth, trying to one-up each other. However, this can quickly escalate into a battle of egos. Instead, try to keep the focus on yourself when you share important news or milestones. If they try to redirect the conversation back to themselves, gently steer it back to your original point. You could say something like, "That's interesting, but I'd like to finish what I was saying." This keeps the conversation balanced and prevents them from dominating it. Number 3, acknowledge their feelings without diminishing your own. Sometimes, the person competing for attention might not realize the impact of their behavior. In this case, empathizing with their feelings while still standing firm can be a good approach. You could say, "I understand that you're proud of your achievements too, but I'd really like to share my experience for a moment." This shows that you're not dismissing them, but you're also valuing your own moment to shine. Number 4, know when to change the subject. If someone repeatedly competes for attention, it may be a sign of a deeper insecurity that you can't fix in a single conversation. In such cases, redirect the conversation to a neutral or less competitive topic. For example, if they dominate every conversation with their stories, you might say, "I love hearing about your experiences, but let's talk about something we both enjoy." This keeps the interaction positive and prevents the conversation from becoming a competition. Keep your boundaries in check. In the end, setting boundaries is crucial when dealing with someone who competes for attention. Remember, you don't need to diminish their achievements to celebrate your own. The goal is to find balance, acknowledging your worth while respecting others' space. By confidently owning your success and not getting caught in a cycle of comparison, you create a healthier, more genuine dynamic in your relationships. As Seneca once said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Often, the need for attention stems from imagined insecurities and fears. The next time you find someone competing for attention, don't feel threatened. Instead, focus on staying grounded in your own value and celebrating your success without fear of comparison. Number 4, subtle criticism disguised as advice. One common yet sneaky behavior of jealousy is subtle criticism disguised as advice. This can often appear as a well-meaning suggestion, but beneath it, there's an underlying jab. For example, imagine you've just completed a project at work that you're proud of, and someone says, "It's good, but next time, maybe you should avoid doing it so quickly. Quality is better than speed, you know." At first, it may seem like friendly advice, but if you look closer, the comment undermines your effort, suggesting that your work wasn't up to par or that you rushed through it. The insinuation is that your performance wasn't as good as it could have been, and this is often done under the guise of helpful feedback, the psychological reasoning behind it. So, why do people engage in this behavior? Often, it's driven by insecurity or envy. They might feel threatened by your success, particularly if they perceive you to be doing better than them. Instead of outright criticizing you, they use a more indirect method, cloaking it in the form of advice. Psychologically, this allows them to express their feelings of jealousy or insecurity without being confrontational. By disguising their criticism as guidance, they maintain the appearance of being helpful and supportive, even though their true intention may be to undermine your confidence or diminish your accomplishment. Another reason this happens is because of social comparison. When someone is constantly comparing themselves to others, they may feel inferior and, as a result, use subtle criticism as a defense mechanism. By pointing out perceived flaws or offering advice, they can make themselves feel better or more competent in comparison. How to handle subtle criticism, disguised as advice. Number 1, recognize it for what it is. The first step in handling this kind of behavior is to recognize it for what it is. When someone offers unsolicited advice that feels more like criticism, pause for a moment and reflect. Are they actually offering a helpful suggestion, or are they subtly tearing you down while pretending to help? Being aware of the situation allows you to respond more calmly and confidently. Number 2, respond confidently without defensiveness. Often, the person offering this disguised criticism is looking for a reaction. So, avoid getting defensive. Instead, take the higher road. Acknowledge the advice politely, but also make it clear that you're confident in your approach. For instance, if someone says, "You should have spent more time on this project," you could respond with, "I'm proud of what I accomplished in the time I had, and I'm happy with the outcome." This shows that you're not affected by their comments and you're grounded in your success. Number 3, address it directly if necessary. If this behavior becomes a pattern and you feel comfortable doing so, it may be helpful to address it directly. You might say, "I appreciate your input, but I felt confident in my approach, and I don't think I need to make changes right now." This gives them the chance to reflect on their behavior, while also setting a clear boundary that you're not open to unsolicited criticism, even if it's disguised as advice. Number 4, shift the focus back to your strengths. Another strategy is to redirect the conversation back to your strengths. For example, if someone offers advice disguised as criticism, you could say, "Thanks for the suggestion, but I've found that my approach works well for me. I'm looking forward to the next challenge." This helps to steer the conversation away from any negativity and reinforces your confidence in your abilities. Stay grounded and confident. Handling subtle criticism disguised as advice requires maintaining your composure and not letting the negativity affect you. It's important to understand that people who engage in this behavior are often projecting their own insecurities. By staying grounded and confident in your decisions, you demonstrate that their attempts to undermine you won't succeed. In the end, it's crucial to trust in your own judgment. Not every piece of advice is valid, and not every comment deserves a reaction. By practicing self-assurance and setting clear boundaries, you'll avoid being drawn into a cycle of negativity and instead maintain your focus on your personal growth and achievements. As Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Keep this in mind the next time you encounter subtle criticism disguised as advice, because how you handle it says more about your strength than anything they say. Number 5, avoiding celebrating your success. Have you ever had a moment where you achieved something great but felt almost guilty for celebrating it? Maybe you finished a big project at work, or you accomplished a personal goal, but instead of feeling proud, you brushed it off. You might have even said, "It's not a big deal, I was just lucky," or "Anyone could have done it." This tendency to avoid celebrating your success is a subtle yet powerful sign of self-doubt or fear of judgment from others. It's as if, deep down, you're not fully allowing yourself to acknowledge the hard work and achievements you've put in. For instance, let's say Sarah, a marketing manager, successfully led her team through a major campaign that brought in impressive results. When a colleague congratulates her, she replies, "It wasn't that hard, just a lot of luck." While Sarah's response might seem humble, it's a classic example of someone downplaying their achievements to avoid feeling like they're boasting or drawing unwanted attention. The psychological reasoning behind it. Why do people avoid celebrating their success? There are a few psychological factors at play here. One of the most significant is fear of judgment. Many people fear being seen as arrogant or boastful if they acknowledge their success. This fear can stem from a deep-seated belief that their worth is based on the approval of others, so they play down their accomplishments to avoid standing out. Another common reason is imposter syndrome. The feeling that you don't deserve the success you've achieved, or that you somehow got lucky instead of earning it through your hard work. People with imposter syndrome often believe that they're not truly capable or deserving of their achievements, so they minimize them to avoid being found out. This inner dialogue can create a cycle of self-doubt, making it harder for them to accept their success and feel confident in their abilities. Lastly, some may avoid celebrating their success because they feel it will put pressure on them to keep performing at a high level or face increased expectations. By downplaying their achievements, they avoid the fear of failure or disappointment in the future. How to handle it? Number 1, recognize and acknowledge your feelings. The first step in handling the urge to avoid celebrating your success is to recognize it for what it is. When you catch yourself downplaying your achievements, take a moment to reflect on why you're doing it. Ask yourself, do I really believe I don't deserve this success? Often, simply recognizing the thought and bringing awareness to it can diminish its power. Number 2, give yourself permission to celebrate. It's essential to allow yourself to enjoy your accomplishments. Instead of brushing them off, take a moment to reflect on the effort you put in. Consider how far you've come and acknowledge the skills and dedication that led to your success. Celebrating doesn't have to be grand. It can be as simple as taking a moment to say, "I did a good job." Even small acknowledgements can boost your confidence and reinforce your self-worth. Number 3, reframe your thoughts. If you struggle with feelings of imposter syndrome or fear of judgment, try to reframe your thoughts. Instead of thinking, "I was lucky," remind yourself that your success is a result of your hard work, skills, and perseverance. A simple thought like, "I earned this," can change how you perceive your accomplishments and help you feel more deserving of your success. Number 4, celebrate in your own way. Celebrate in a way that feels authentic to you. It could be as simple as treating yourself to a small reward, sharing your achievement with close friends, or even writing down your accomplishments in a journal. When you celebrate, you not only recognize your success, but also reinforce your self-worth and the value of your hard work. Number 5, encourage others to celebrate too. When we downplay our success, we inadvertently discourage others from celebrating their own. By celebrating your success, you inspire those around you to do the same. Share your wins with others and encourage them to celebrate their own achievements as well. This creates a positive environment where people can be proud of their work without feeling guilty or diminished. And now, let's move to the conclusion. In the end, avoiding the celebration of your success is a barrier to self-empowerment. By acknowledging and celebrating your achievements, you not only build your confidence, but also send a powerful message that your hard work is valuable and worth recognizing. Remember, success is a reflection of your dedication and growth, and you deserve to take pride in every step forward. So the next time you achieve something great, don't hold back, celebrate it. You've earned it. Number 6, gossiping behind your back. One of the most frustrating behaviors to deal with is when someone gossips about you behind your back. It's subtle, often unspoken, but incredibly damaging. Imagine this. You're in a work environment, and you've just completed a big project. You're excited and feeling confident, but when you overhear some colleagues chatting in the break room, they're discussing your recent success. However, it's not the praise you expected. Instead, they're nitpicking or questioning how you achieved it. One might say, she only got that project because the boss likes her, while another adds, I'm sure she's just lucky. Suddenly, your accomplishment feels diminished, and you're left feeling betrayed. This is gossiping behind your back, and it can feel like a punch to the gut. The psychological reasoning behind gossiping. Why do people engage in gossip, especially behind someone's back? It often comes from insecurities or jealousy. When someone feels threatened by your success, they may try to diminish it by spreading rumors or negative opinions. They might feel envious of what you've achieved and want to bring you down in a subtle way. Gossip provides a means for them to cope with their own feelings of inadequacy or to elevate their own sense of worth at the expense of others. This behavior is not necessarily about you. It's about their own struggle with self-esteem and fear of being overshadowed. Another factor at play is the need for social validation. When people gossip about others, they often do so to strengthen their position within a group. By aligning themselves with others who share the same negative views, they create a sense of unity and mutual reinforcement. This can provide them with a sense of belonging and social acceptance, which is important for their emotional well-being. Gossip can serve as a way for them to feel in control, especially if they feel powerless in other areas of their life. How to handle gossip behind your back. Number 1, don't engage in gossip yourself. The first step in handling gossip is not to fall into the same trap. Rise above it. Gossip often thrives when it's given attention. By engaging in it, you feed into the negativity. Instead, focus on remaining positive and maintaining your dignity. If you overhear gossip, don't retaliate or start talking behind others' backs in return. It's tempting, but doing so only perpetuates the cycle. Responding with grace shows maturity and emotional control. Number 2, confront the issue calmly. If you're aware of the gossip and it's affecting your relationships or work environment, it's okay to confront the situation, but do so in a calm and composed manner. Consider speaking directly with the people involved. For example, you could say, I overheard some comments about my recent project. I just want to clarify that I worked really hard for it and would appreciate open communication if there are concerns. This approach sets clear boundaries while also expressing your feelings without escalating the situation. Number 3, Stay confident in your achievements. One of the best ways to handle gossip is to stay confident in your accomplishments. Recognize that gossip says more about the person spreading it than it does about you. Their opinions are based on their own insecurities and jealousy, not your worth. When you know that you've earned your success, it becomes easier to brush off the negativity. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance. It means recognizing your value without needing others to validate it. Number 4. Seek support from trusted individuals. It can be helpful to talk to someone you trust, someone who knows you and your character well. Sometimes, just venting to a supportive friend or colleague can help you process the situation. They might even offer advice or reassurance that you aren't alone. Having someone who believes in you can provide the emotional strength needed to rise above gossip. Number 5. Create a healthy environment. If you find that gossip is a recurring issue in your environment, consider how you can contribute to a healthier culture. Whether it's in the workplace, your circle of friends, or your family, try to encourage open communication and respectful behavior. Leading by example can influence others to follow suit, making it harder for gossip to thrive. And now, let's move to the conclusion. Gossiping behind your back can be painful, especially when it targets your accomplishments. But understanding the psychology behind it, rooted in insecurity, jealousy, and the need for validation, helps you see it for what it is, a reflection of others' struggles, not yours. By maintaining confidence, setting boundaries, and handling the situation with grace, you can rise above the negativity. Ultimately, gossip won't define you unless you let it. So focus on staying true to your own path and let your actions speak louder than any words behind your back. Number 7. Excessive comparison. One behavior that often goes unnoticed but can have a huge impact on our self-esteem is excessive comparison. This is when you constantly measure your achievements, appearance, or life circumstances against those of others. For example, imagine you've just started a new job and you're excited about your progress. But then you notice a colleague who seems to be excelling at a faster pace, getting more recognition. You begin to think, why can't I be as good as them? Suddenly, all the small victories you've had seem insignificant, and the progress you've made is overshadowed by your focus on their success. The psychological reason behind excessive comparison. Why do we fall into this trap of constant comparison? It often stems from a desire for validation. Deep down, we want to feel like we are measuring up to others in a meaningful way. In a world where social media feeds us curated highlights of others' lives, it's easy to feel like everyone else is doing better. This kind of thinking can trigger feelings of inadequacy and lead to low self-worth. It's also a form of social comparison theory, which suggests that we tend to compare ourselves to others in order to evaluate our own abilities and worth. However, excessive comparison is dangerous. It's a never-ending cycle because there will always be someone doing better or having more. It's easy to forget that social media, for example, only shows the good parts of people's lives. What's often left out is the struggle, the behind-the-scenes work, or the failures. So, when we constantly compare ourselves to others, we're not getting a full picture. We're just measuring our lives against an idealized version of someone else's. How to handle excessive comparison. Number 1. Shift the focus back to yourself. The first step in managing excessive comparison is to refocus your attention. Instead of constantly comparing your progress to someone else's, ask yourself, how far have I come? Think about your own journey, your own growth, and the small wins that are meaningful to you. Celebrating your own progress, even the small milestones, can help shift the narrative away from comparison. You might say, I've learned a lot this year, and I'm proud of the growth I've achieved. This acknowledgement can help reinforce your self-worth. Number 2. Practice gratitude. One powerful way to combat the urge to compare is by practicing gratitude. When you shift your focus to what you have rather than what others have, it can help you feel more fulfilled. Make it a habit to reflect on the things in your life that you're thankful for, whether it's a supportive family, a roof over your head, or your health. This mindset shift allows you to stop obsessing over what you lack and focus more on appreciating what you already have. Number 3, understand that everyone's journey is different. We often forget that everyone has their own unique path. Comparing your progress to someone else's is like comparing apples to oranges. You don't know the struggles or sacrifices that person has made to get where they are. Maybe they've been at their job for 5 years, while you've only been there for a few months. Or maybe they come from a different background that's given them certain advantages. By acknowledging that everyone's journey is different, you can stop holding yourself to unrealistic standards. Remember, your story is unique, and it's okay to take your own time to reach your goals. Number 4, set personal goals based on your values. A great way to steer clear of unhealthy comparisons is to set personal goals based on your own values, not what others are doing. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve for myself? Whether it's improving your fitness, advancing in your career, or learning a new skill, setting goals that align with your values will help you stay focused on your own growth rather than measuring yourself against others. Measure your success against your own standards, not someone else's. Number 5, limit social media consumption. One of the biggest culprits of excessive comparison is social media. It's easy to scroll through others' perfect-looking posts and feel inadequate in comparison. While it's not necessary to quit social media entirely, consider limiting your usage or unfollowing accounts that make you feel negative about yourself. Curate your feed to include content that inspires and uplifts you rather than making you feel like you're falling short. And now, let's move to the conclusion. Excessive comparison is a natural tendency, but it can be damaging if left unchecked. It's easy to get caught up in measuring your worth against others, especially in a world that constantly showcases other people's highlight reels. However, by focusing on your own progress, practicing gratitude, and setting goals that reflect your own values, you can learn to navigate the urge to compare in a healthier way. The key is to remember that your worth is not determined by how you measure up to others. It's defined by your own unique journey and growth. Number 8, fake support. Fake support is one of those behaviors that can leave you feeling both confused and disappointed. It's when someone acts like they're on your side, offering encouragement or praise, but their actions, or even words, suggest otherwise. Imagine this. You've been working hard on a big project at work and you're feeling proud of your progress. One of your colleagues, Sarah, tells you, "Wow, that's amazing. You're doing great." She offers a smile and nod of approval, but then, behind your back, she criticizes your work to others or tries to take credit for your ideas. The psychological reason behind fake support. Why do people fake support? Often, it's rooted in self-interest. Someone offering you fake support may not have genuine concern for your well-being or success. Instead, they might want to appear kind or helpful, but deep down, they may feel threatened by your achievements. By pretending to be supportive, they avoid confrontation or try to stay in your good graces, while still looking for opportunities to undermine you. Another reason fake support arises is social comparison. They may see you as a competitor in some way and offer surface-level support while secretly hoping you fail. The goal here is to maintain a favorable public image without offering real assistance. It could also stem from envy. If they can't match your success, they might offer fake support to keep you close, keeping tabs on you to find ways to bring you down later. Whatever the motivation, the key here is that fake support is dishonest, and it can leave you feeling more isolated and uncertain, especially when you realize the true intentions behind it. How to handle fake support. Number 1, Recognize the signs. The first step in handling fake support is to recognize it. Pay attention to people's words and actions. Does the support they offer align with their behavior toward you? If someone is consistently praising you in public but undermining you privately, that's a red flag. For example, if someone congratulates you on your work but then talks behind your back about how it wasn't good enough, it's clear their support is not genuine. Number 2, maintain boundaries. Fake supporters often try to blur the lines, acting like they're there for you while also looking for ways to take advantage of your success. It's important to set clear boundaries. If you suspect someone is being disingenuous, limit how much personal or professional information you share with them. Keep things more superficial, especially when dealing with projects or achievements they may feel threatened by. You don't have to cut ties entirely, but protecting your space is key. Number 3, respond with caution. When faced with fake support, it's important to respond in a measured way. Instead of immediately calling out the behavior, stay composed and evaluate how best to address it. You can acknowledge their praise with a polite thank you, but avoid sharing too much. If the behavior continues, it may be necessary to have a direct conversation with them. You might say something like, "I appreciate your encouragement, but I've noticed some inconsistencies in our discussions. I value honesty and collaboration, so I'd prefer we focus on giving each other genuine support moving forward." Number 4, seek out true supporters. It's important to have a support system that you can rely on. Fake support can leave you feeling isolated, so make a conscious effort to surround yourself with people who offer genuine encouragement. Look for individuals who celebrate your successes without jealousy or hidden agendas. True supporters will listen to your ideas, offer constructive feedback, and cheer you on when you're succeeding, not when it benefits them. Number 5, don't let it affect your confidence. Dealing with fake support can feel hurtful, especially when it comes from people you trusted. But remember, their behavior is a reflection of their insecurities, not your worth. Don't let their actions cause you to doubt yourself. Stay focused on your goals and continue working hard, regardless of the external noise. If you know you're giving your best, don't let anyone's superficial praise or undermining behavior shake your confidence. And now, let's move to the conclusion. Fake support is a challenging behavior to navigate, especially when it comes from people you expect to have your back. It stems from a variety of psychological reasons, often involving self-interest, jealousy, or the need to maintain a favorable image. Recognizing fake support and setting boundaries are crucial steps in protecting your energy and staying focused on what really matters. By cultivating true, authentic relationships and trusting your own abilities, you can rise above the fake praise and continue moving forward. Remember, genuine support is earned through mutual respect, not manipulation. Number 9, body language cues. Body language can speak louder than words. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone seemed to be saying one thing, but their body language said something completely different? Maybe a colleague smiles while talking, but their arms are crossed tightly, or someone gives you a pat on the back but avoids eye contact. These non-verbal signals, like facial expressions, posture, and gestures, offer a deeper understanding of someone's true feelings or intentions. Take, for example, a situation at work. You're presenting an idea to your boss, and while they nod and make verbal affirmations like, "That sounds interesting," you notice they keep checking their phone or glance away frequently. These small body language cues reveal something more, perhaps a lack of interest, discomfort, or even distraction. The psychological reason behind body language cues. Why do people communicate through body language like this? Well, much of it is unconscious. Our body naturally expresses our emotions and intentions without us even realizing it. People might say they're fine, but their slumped posture or tense muscles can reveal otherwise. This is because body language is tied directly to our emotions, and often we may not even be aware that we're sending certain signals. For example, crossing arms can indicate defensiveness, while avoiding eye contact can signal discomfort or avoidance. Psychologically speaking, body language cues also serve as protective mechanisms. When people feel insecure, anxious, or threatened, they may resort to closed-off postures or behaviors to shield themselves. For instance, someone who feels unsure about a conversation might adopt a posture that says, "I'm not sure I want to be here," even though they're still actively participating in the conversation. Another reason people rely on body language is that it's often easier to convey emotions non-verbally than through words. Social norms and the fear of judgment often cause individuals to hide their true feelings in conversations, but their body movements will betray them. This is especially true in tense or emotionally charged situations where someone might not feel comfortable expressing how they truly feel through words. How to handle body language cues. So how do you handle these non-verbal signals when they arise, either from others or yourself? Number 1, observe and reflect. The first step is simply observing. Pay attention to the body language of those around you. If you notice someone showing signs of discomfort, like shifting their gaze or fidgeting, take a moment to consider what might be causing it. Are they truly engaged, or are they disengaging? By noticing these cues, you'll be better able to respond to the actual feelings or needs of the person you're communicating with. For example, if you're talking to a colleague who's consistently crossing their arms, it might signal that they're defensive, which could prompt you to adjust your approach by offering reassurance or asking if they have any concerns. Number 2, match and mirror with caution. In some cases, you can use a technique called matching and mirroring to help create rapport. This involves subtly mimicking the other person's body language to help them feel more comfortable. For instance, if your boss leans in while speaking to you, you can gently lean in as well. The key is to make it feel natural and not forced, as it can backfire if it's too obvious. This technique helps to create a sense of connection, making the other person feel like you're in sync with them. Number 3, use your own body language mindfully. Just as others' body language can reveal their feelings, your own body language communicates your emotions and attitude. If you want to seem approachable and confident, make sure your body language matches that. For example, standing with your shoulders back, making eye contact, and maintaining open gestures rather than crossed arms sends the message that you are open, engaged, and confident. Number 4, address discrepancies directly. Sometimes the body language cues are too obvious to ignore. In those cases, it may be helpful to address the discrepancies directly. For example, if someone is verbally telling you that they agree with your idea, but their body language suggests otherwise, like avoiding eye contact or fidgeting, you could gently ask, "You seem a little uncertain about this. Would you like to share your thoughts?" This gives them a chance to open up and provide more honest feedback. Number 5, don't overinterpret. While body language is important, don't jump to conclusions or read too deeply into every gesture. Sometimes a crossed arm could just mean someone is cold or tired. Be sure to take the entire context of the situation into account before making assumptions about what someone's body language is telling you. And now, let's move to the conclusion. Understanding and interpreting body language cues is an essential skill for navigating both personal and professional relationships. People's body language often reveals more about their true feelings than their words ever could. By becoming more attuned to these subtle signs, you can improve your communication, connect with others on a deeper level, and even diffuse tension before it escalates. Remember, though, that body language isn't always straightforward, so it's important to consider the bigger picture and respond with empathy and openness. To understand this better, let's explore a few psychological insights about jealousy. Jealousy is one of those emotions we all experience at some point, but it's often tricky to talk about. It can creep up when we see someone else getting something we want, whether it's a promotion, recognition, or even a relationship. But why do we feel this way, and how does it affect our behavior? At its core, jealousy stems from insecurity. When we see someone else thriving, it can make us question our own worth. We might start comparing ourselves to them, thinking, "Why don't I have that?" Or, "What's wrong with me?" This feeling can lead to frustration, resentment, or even a desire to undermine the other person to feel better about ourselves. It's all about the fear of losing something we value, whether that's a status, a relationship, or a sense of self-worth. Interestingly, jealousy often isn't as obvious as it seems. People are masters at hiding it. Instead of openly expressing jealousy, many mask it with passive-aggressive behavior or feigned indifference. They might compliment you while secretly resenting your success or act overly supportive, but deep down, they might be feeling threatened. This hidden jealousy can cause friction in relationships as the real feelings stay buried beneath the surface. As Epictetus reminds us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. This quote captures the essence of jealousy perfectly. Often, we exaggerate the significance of someone else's success in our minds, imagining that it diminishes our own worth. But the reality is, someone else's achievements don't take away from our own potential. Jealousy often causes us to make comparisons that aren't even meaningful or helpful, spiraling us into negative thinking. The impact of jealousy isn't just emotional, it can change how we behave. People who feel jealous may try to downplay the other person's success or even spread rumors to make them look bad. This reaction is usually about protecting their own fragile ego, but it only ends up creating tension and damage in relationships. To handle jealousy, it's important to acknowledge it when it arises, instead of ignoring or suppressing it. Ask yourself, why do I feel this way? What am I really afraid of? Often, the root of jealousy is tied to a fear of inadequacy or rejection. Once you can recognize these feelings, you can focus on building your own confidence and realizing that someone else's success doesn't threaten yours. If you ignore these signs, there are real consequences. Let's take a look at what could happen. Ignoring jealousy might seem like a way to avoid dealing with uncomfortable emotions, but it can actually do more harm than good. It's like putting a band-aid over a wound without cleaning it first. It might look fine for a while, but the infection spreads beneath the surface. Emotionally, ignoring jealousy can create a buildup of negative feelings. You might convince yourself that you're not jealous, but deep down, resentment starts to grow. Over time, these suppressed emotions can turn into frustration or bitterness. You may start feeling disconnected from your own achievements, constantly comparing yourself to others and doubting your worth. Instead of focusing on your own progress, you find yourself obsessing over someone else's success. Mentally, unaddressed jealousy can lead to mental exhaustion. Constantly suppressing your emotions takes a toll on your mind. You might experience stress, anxiety, or even self-doubt, wondering why you're unable to feel happy for others. This internal conflict is draining and often leaves you feeling stuck. It's as if you're on a hamster wheel, constantly comparing and never feeling good enough. Relationally, ignoring jealousy can cause significant damage. When you don't address your jealousy, it can show up in indirect ways, maybe through passive-aggressive comments or unintentional distancing from the person you're jealous of. For example, imagine you're friends with someone who just got a big promotion. Instead of celebrating with them, you start avoiding their calls or making snarky remarks about their success. Over time, these small actions can lead to tension, misunderstandings, and even broken relationships. Ignoring jealousy only postpones the inevitable. It doesn't make the feeling disappear. Instead, it buries the issue deeper, causing it to resurface in unhealthy ways. Acknowledging and understanding your jealousy allows you to process it, to turn it into a lesson rather than a burden. Now, for the empowering takeaway that you can use. At the end of the day, taking control of your emotional well-being is the most empowering choice you can make. No one else can set your boundaries or define your worth. Only you can do that. So why let jealousy take away your peace? Why let it control how you feel about yourself and others? Recognizing your own value is the first step. Remind yourself that you are enough. You don't need to compare yourself to anyone. Each person's journey is different, and just because someone else's success looks different from yours doesn't mean it's better, or that you are any less worthy of your own success. Setting boundaries is key. If you feel jealousy creeping in, recognize it and put a pause on it. Don't allow it to take root and grow. Set emotional boundaries to protect your mental peace. For example, if you notice yourself comparing or feeling envious, stop and remind yourself that their success doesn't diminish yours. You can even say, "This isn't my path, but I have my own," and refocus on your goals. Don't let jealousy steal your joy. Life is too short to waste energy on something that only holds you back. The more you focus on your own growth, the less space there is for negative feelings to grow. Embrace the truth. You are in control of your emotions. By setting boundaries, recognizing your worth, and refusing to let jealousy interfere, you're taking the reins of your happiness. So today, choose to step into your power. Choose to let go of jealousy and focus on what truly matters: your peace, your journey, and your happiness. When you do that, you'll find a sense of inner calm that no external success can ever disrupt.